20 minutes in, so let's have a look at the fire. You can see it's just starting to collapse. You can see a good red roasting happening to the initial logs we put in. Now I arm myself here with the firewood tong. It's got a little hook on the end. This is the best one to use, and if you can just see that against the colour there, it's got a little hook on the end. Yeah, okay, and I've got myself three, one, two, and a third one, 3 medium-sized logs. You can get an idea of how big they are. Okay, now that's what I'm going to put on next. I've got 3 ready. I'm going to open the door carefully, holding the wooden handle. Don't burn yourself, because the thing does get hot. That's what it's supposed to do. You'll notice the vents are still closed, and the vent is on about 1/3 closed at the top. So let's open the fire. I'm going to prod this, going to collapse very carefully this pyramid which is standing here. It's about to collapse. I'm just going to help it on its way. Then I'm going to place 3 of these medium-sized logs on top, and I'm going to close it. We're 20-odd minutes in now, so this is like the 3rd time I've approached the fire, and we're now setting it up to gain more heat into these bigger logs, which will set the fire for another 20 minutes, and we'll start to put the bigger logs on. I'll show you that in a second. Here we are. Open slowly and be aware. Stand away from it, because there's a heat now starting to generate. With the prod, I will just try to help and ease those to collapse. Those that roll to the side, I will just ease in. You notice I'm standing well back, very slowly. You've got the fire burning there. Be careful with this now. So you place this out of way. I'm putting it on the tiles out of way. Now with my hand, and I'm able to do this because I'm showing you, but put a glove on if you feel it's necessary. I decide where I'm going to place the wood. I know what I'm going to do with it. I can see how it's going to lie, and I just lay it in quickly and release. Second piece here, I'm going to lay it crossways like this, and the 3rd piece I'm going to raise across so it sits. Just look how it's going to sit. I'm going to raise that and place it in there. Okay, nicely, everything's set comfortably. I'm going to close the door. Don't slam it shut, just place it shut, lock it through, and you're fine. What I do now at this point, because we've added a bit more wood, is I'm going to open this slightly, put a bit more air in. I'm half open, and I'm just going to open this slightly. I don't want to overdo it, but I want to allow this new larger pieces of wood to catch fire by the flames roaring up. And you can see immediately I've just changed that slightly, and you've got more flames. I'm going to come back in 5 minutes and close those again when I see this wood starting to catch. Okay, phase 2. 40 minutes in now. Now's the time to put the gloves on if you haven't placed them on before. When you saw me placing the kindling wood in, the fire wasn't up to much of a temperature. Of course you can burn yourself, but I've been lighting fires for a long time now here, and I sort of know what to do. I would suggest you put gloves on right from the off, but at this point definitely, because this medium-sized wood now is gaining some heat. I can feel it sort of sat here about 1/2 metre from the glass. Now the vent is half open, and you can see we've got this amount of fire. The vent here is about 1/3 open, so we're working on sort of a 1/2 open of air flowing through. I'm going to be careful now when I open this, because it's getting increasingly hotter, and I'm looking to place now on 3 more pieces of wood. Now the sort of size I've got is this, or something like this size, and this is now the final size we'll go to. Obviously there are larger pieces, but when you're more experienced at that, you can put those on later in the evening when the fire has really got some heat to it, and maybe I can show you that later. Okay, so we're poised, we're ready. Again, the fire's getting very hot. Make sure you touch the wood, not the metal. Now what we're going to have here is that the wood inside is actually shifted slightly, which is what it will do. Naturally it will start to fall, but we've now got bigger pieces here which will fall and stay in a set position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change them slightly with the tongs here, so that they sit level, and I can place these larger pieces very simply and easily and just place them in, and then they're in the right place. What they should do is they should cross. So the pieces that are in like this, these wood pieces are placed across them. Sorry, let you see that better. So they're placed across. So basically you've got air flowing through the different levels of log. Right, let's show you. So we're about 45 minutes in now. Open the door. Make sure, because there is a heat that drops out. Make sure you don't touch it this side, because it's now very hot. Now I'm going to just use this. See, I'm sort of some way from the fire, so I'm not going to get too close. I'm just going to prod around and allow those pieces to fall horizontal. Not too much difficulty in that. You can see that they're sort of laid horizontal. The fire flares up, and I'm going to place these logs. Doesn't matter around, I can place them that way, or I can place them up this way. Easier to place them in that way. Got the glove on, so I'm not going to burn myself. And I'm placing 2 across on the top. They're sitting comfortable, and I think you can see that. So, the tongs at the ready, so if anything moves around I can just poke. I placed it in very quickly. I'm now getting quite fierce heat coming out here, so I'm going to shut the door. The vents are on half. I haven't touched this, it's on half, and you can see automatically, because I've raised the gap between the logs, the air is now through between the logs, and the fire is roaring away. Put the tong away, it's very hot, remember, so place that out of sight, and I'm now set for the rest of the evening to place on top of these 2 logs a further 2 logs and a further 2 logs, just placing them on top as this burns down, and then you'll have a beautiful fire that will burn all evening. Now, because when you put the bigger logs on, you get more heat, I'm going to start to shut the vents down. So the vents will be closed down. I'm going to close this right down now to almost closed, and I'm going to shut this one off to almost closed, because I've got quite a good intense heat here. So now we're set for the next half an hour or so. When these 2 logs burn down, I'm going to put 2 more on like this, and we're now starting to set ourselves for the evening and a really nice log fire. Okay, we're 1 hour into the fire, and you can see, I think quite clearly, those 2 logs I just placed in are burning away nicely. There's a very nice fire we've got going here now. Now the vents at the bottom, if you can see them there, are closed, and the vent at the very top is in the closed position. So this fire now is burning and sucking the oxygen through, and the 2 logs are there happily burning for another 20 minutes or so. So we're 1 hour in, and we've got a nice warm fire going now. Not too much to do from now on, except just keep loading the fire with 2 more logs at a time. We can now set in for a nice evening. Just over an hour and a half in, and if you can see, I open this now, increasing heat. Don't need to keep telling you that. This is now extremely hot, so be very careful at this stage. And the evening draws on. We're at around 45 minutes. The 2 larger logs I showed you earlier are now disintegrating, and I'm going to put 2 more on. We've got, just to give you the size here, this is the size of them, you can see, and those 2 are going to be placed on. Because I'm pretty confident that the logs are dying down now in here, I'm going to place this in fairly quickly, so be prepared where you're going to place it. So go in, place it at the back, it settles, don't throw it or drop it, try and place it, and then this other one again I'm going to place at the front, in it goes, nicely placed, and then as soon as possible close up. Now at this point, as I've mentioned before, we'll see what happens. We'll just see the flames start to come, if you can see that. If I open this slightly and I open here, you can see instant roar. What a difference that is. So I don't need that fully open, so I'm going to close this to just a fraction open, so I've got air, and I'm going to go back, close it fully, and just open it slightly, and that'll increase a little bit of airflow through, and we're now set for another 45 minutes or more with 2 logs on. So that should see us through to about 3 hours, and we've got a very nice fire now pushing out lots of heat. Got the gloves on, that's very important at this stage.